first introduce you to Sara Gelgor, who's with Financial. And Sara's capstone focused on climate-related risks and opportunities and how to build out an ESG strategy. And after Sara speaks, I'll ask Zaman, who is an ESG consultant at Stratos, to talk about his experience. So Sara, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about your experience in your capstone project and happy surprises you found along the way.
Sorry, I came off camera and not off mute. Thank you, Catherine and Mimi, for inviting me to speak. I'm quite flattered, and welcome everybody. It's great to see this much interest, and rightly so. This is a fantastic program. So you've just heard 13 months worth of curriculum summarized in about half an hour, and Catherine's done a tremendous job of trying to distill what are the key benefits and key components of the program. She's doing it looking forward. I'm looking in the rearview mirror, and I'm going to make it even simpler for you. Probably three things that I would say I took away from this. First is it's very broad, and I'll come back to that in a moment. Next, it's deep. There are a lot of deep dives. And lastly, and you've heard this over the last 30 minutes, it was very, very practical. So what do I mean by broad? Well, what I found was that it really did cover a range of topics. And so, you know, the program, the title focuses on social impact and sustainability. Catherine's talked about ESG as well. And it's everything from, you know, theory to a little bit of history there, but also, you know, a number of different topics that you might have some background in, or you might not. What I found is that there was a real range of backgrounds, and some folks were already in the space, and some folks like me had touched different aspects of ESG over the course of my career, but I hadn't had the opportunity to really bring it together. And then the other piece, and Catherine just spoke about this, is the interdependencies or the interconnectedness. And so what's wonderful about this program is that you don't have one session that's focused on the E and one session that's focused on the S. And it really is very, very connected. And I found that quite beneficial. So when I talk about the program being deep, then there are three different things that come to mind for me. There's a chance to really do a deep dive. And as Catherine mentioned, my capstone project focused on climate risk. And that was the one area that I'd had the least exposure to. So I have legal background, I have an MBA, I've done, you know, I keep going back to school because school is so much fun. And so I've touched on ethics, and I've touched on a whole bunch of different areas, and climate was an area that I hadn't yet been exposed to fairly broadly, and chose to do both my book report and my capstone in that area. And then when we talk about practical, so the capstone project, which sounds intimidating, and you know, once you're in the program, it's still intimidating, but it's a wonderful way to really wrap your arms around something that either interests you or is, you know, both of interest and relevance in the workplace. And so you know, I can't emphasize enough the value of the mentor. So I remember the conversation that I had with Catherine. I said, well, you know, here's kind of what I'm interested in. And, you know, maybe this person might be a good mentor. And Catherine said, I have somebody even better. And sure enough, I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better match. You know, I'm still in touch with my mentor. She was amazing. She guided me in the right direction, provided me with, you know, optional reading or helped me narrow the scope. And then the last piece I'll touch on is the network. And I can't emphasize enough how valuable that is. And I continue to reach out to folks who were in my cohort, even on things that are completely unrelated to the course. You know, I'm looking at, you know, developing a specific program, or I may have an interest and I know that somebody works in that field. And I now have that network, both from my current cohort as well as the past cohorts. So I'm really sad that I can't do this all over again, but it's a fabulous program, and I'd encourage everybody to give it serious consideration. It's, you know, you you get what you put into it, and there's tremendous opportunity to really take quite a bit away. And it is a very unique program. I've had the chance to, be involved in a number of academic programs, and this really is unique for the reasons I just mentioned. It's broad, it's deep, and it's practical.
Super. Thank you so much, Sarah. What Sarah's not telling you is that she and one of the cohort members moved into the same neighborhood together so that they could be close together. It's quite bizarre. Anyway, that's good stuff. What a story. All during a pandemic. Aiden, I'd like to introduce you, and you did something quite remarkable during this program, where you went out and got yourself an internship. So you were working full-time, you did an internship in the mining sector. Tell us a little bit about your experience in the program.
Sure. Thank you so much, Catherine, and maybe for having me here. Well, it's a privilege to be here, and also to be able to speak about the program that I greatly benefited from. So I'll just, I'll take a different approach, and I will just make an attempt here to walk everybody through my thoughts when I decided to enroll in the program, and share with you about the drivers that I thought about back then. And I know that these came over and over again in the last few minutes, but I still want to talk about it because I wanted to share with you my perspective on them, right? And so the key drivers, one of the key drivers were the contents of the program. And, a lot of times being in nonprofit industry for a while, and also working for the private sector, the concept of sustainability could be really, different to different people, different actors. So what a good thing about this program is it connects sustainability professionals at both non-for-profit and private sector professionals, which is a rare thing. So we had in our cohorts people from nonprofit, and we have people from for-profit. And we, at the end of the program, we really walked out with the ideas of both the perspectives. So that was a great thing. And I sort of got a hint of that in the website before getting into the program. So that was one of the drivers. Well, in that also, there were a range of topics that were being taught. And I personally was a community investment professional before I got in ESG, but I felt, so I was looking for jobs for about a year prior to enrolling to the program, and I felt, my skills in community investment was not adequate to qualify for a job in ESG, which is far more broader. So I felt this might be a great opportunity to learn about these topics. This could be sustainability strategy development. It could be environmental sustainability, or human rights, community investment, diversity and inclusion, so many other topics that were being taught. And they're so much relevant for the ESG professionals, and also for nonprofit professionals. Also, I really, enjoyed the interactive materials in the learning management systems. And so, I got a hint about that as well. And I felt this would be a great way to educate myself on those topics. Well, I'll move to the second driver, which is the format of the program. So when I joined the program, I was working full time, but I also wanted to move to, so I was working in a nonprofit, but I wanted to work for a for-profit in ESG or sustainability field. So while it was not possible for me to just let go my job, it was also important that I get into a program. So the format of the program, which is hybrid of in-person modules and virtual classes, allowed me an opportunity to work full-time and also take the program. So that was really a key thing for me. And well, typically the programs, certificate programs or graduate diploma programs are 6 or 8 months length. So you basically start the program and it's over. But this program was 13 months long, so it gave me enough time to learn from colleagues, learn from the people in the cohorts, from the program instructors, everybody. So that was also something that I felt would be great. And well, Catherine spoke about it, Sarah spoke about it. Networking was a great motivation for me. Being able to join a network of over 400 professionals who are passionate about CSR and sustainability, that's incredible. And, I couldn't think of any other place to sort of, connect with these people and talk about amazing topics that we have in sustainability space. I think also like this doesn't only, it's not about only learning from the alumni. It's more engaging with the classmates through assignments, because we did lots of assignments together with the classmates, and that was, the learning was phenomenal through those experiences. And also interacting with the industry experts who appeared as faculty, learning from them through the classes and webinars were also like truly a humble experience for me. Last but not least, capstone project was, well, I felt that, it's somewhat like there's a lot of availability for volunteering opportunities in nonprofit, but if you look for opportunities to volunteer in private sector, it's pretty complicated. And I felt if I could do an internship as part of my capstone project, that's going to help me, work firsthand. I mean, gain firsthand experience and exposure to the industry that I wanted to get into, and also apply the standards and frameworks that I've learned from the program in the classroom. So that was, a phenomenal experience. So that was a thought before I make a decision, but I made it work with the support of the program management team, and also, many contacts that I sort of made during the program while I was in the program. So, that really helped me getting my foot in the door in the ESG space. So, and also, like I must mention having a mentor to support me with, like the capstone project was like really a great thing, because it's not only what I think, it's also like my thoughts were being constantly validated by a mentor, and they were teaching us things at every stage of the project. And the capstone project is fairly long; it's 8 months, so it's a great a time for someone to really deep dive into projects that they're passionate about and accomplish a lot from that. So I sincerely hope that you find this perspective useful, and we'll just turn it over to Catherine.
Super, thank you so much. I think we talked about me asking one final question, and this had to do with how has this translated into job opportunities for each of you. So maybe I'll go back to Sara, and then I'll let you to talk about it as well.
Certainly. Thank you, Catherine. So as I mentioned, I had little sprinklings of exposure to ESG and had not really focused on the space until this program came along. And it was the capstone project that changed everything for me. So my capstone project was building out a climate strategy following TCFD disclosure. And at my organization, I work for a financial institution, as Catherine mentioned, and we are privately held. So we don't have the investor pressure to be disclosing in the same manner that some of the large public institutions are following right now. And so we were doing a number of different things, but it hadn't been pulled together, similar to my journey coming to this program. And so I built out, I worked with my mentor who has a lot of expertise in this area, and came up with a strategy for assessing both materiality and then assessing impacts, opportunities, and reporting on climate-related financial risks. And then I was able to share that with my organization. Fast forward, I'm now deeply involved in all of our ESG work, really sort of supporting our head of HR who has that accountability. And I have been involved in helping the organization build out an ESG strategy that includes climate, but goes much beyond that. And so I'm involved in every aspect of it. I don't think I would have been engaged in these initiatives had I not enrolled in and completed the program. So it's really changed the nature of my work. I still focus on managing risk, but I'm also now very much involved in our sustainability and ESG initiatives.
Perfect, wonderful. That's terrific. And Adnan, do you want to talk about how it impacted you?
Sure. So that's quite visible impact in my case because, well, I think it was a month before I finished the program. I got a job offer from a sustainability consulting firm named Stratos Inc., which has later been bought by ERM. So we're basically transitioning to environmental resource management. A global sustainability consulting company. So what I feel is that I would not have qualified for the job that I've eventually landed on without getting into this program. And I think of that because of many reasons. One is if I look back at the requirements the company had in the job posting, they needed someone to understand the current ecosystem of ESG and sustainability. They needed someone who knew about the frameworks like TCFD, SASB, and GRI, and have experience with them. So I would not have those experiences if I didn't learn about those from classes at the program, and also during my capstone at Torex, Gold Resources, a mining company. So I will say there are also other aspects of it. There were many soft skills that I got from my cohorts. I've learned that from the industry experts that I interacted during the classes. So all of that combined prepared me for the job that I've eventually landed. So yeah, I'm incredibly grateful to everybody for that. And I also think like this is an opportunity. I took this program as an opportunity to unlock some of my potentials, and it did work out for me. And I think like it would work for everybody who has the right motivation to achieve what they want to achieve.